is the most embarrassing notification that has popped up on your screen when someone else was looking at your phone? Story 1. My best friend in high school was in the process of being grounded and having his phone taken away, and as he was handing over his phone to his mom, he got a text from me that said, "Hey, I found your mom's," accompanied with a picture of a medieval battering ram. He told me that they both saw it, right as the transaction was taking place, then held each other's gaze silently for what he described as an eternity. Story 2. Father-in-law and I are looking at picture on my phone. Wife texts me, banner on the top of the phone, "I've been a bad girl, I need a spanking, or maybe just a hard." Dude looked at me, I answered, "What kind of daughter did you raise?" He didn't laugh as hard as I think he should have. Story 3. I was letting my coworker share borrow my laptop, and my birth control reminder popped up while he was using it. I'm extremely immature, so the message just says birth control with the location set to YO mouth. Story 4. My best friend and I used to have a code word for situations where we shouldn't be sending each other inappropriate stuff, so whenever one of us sent the word Crisco, it means someone was looking at our phone, and to keep it PG. We picked this word because one time my dad was fixing my phone and she sent, in all caps, "Did you know in ancient times they used animal fat as lube so they could each other in the." My has a friend that I have always suspected is in love with him. Once she was showing me something on her phone and a text from her mom popped up saying, "I still don't understand why you can't get with S name." We pretended it didn't happen. Story 5. I got subscribed to Yandy Lingerie texts after I ordered something from there. Really annoying as they don't tell you how to unsubscribe. I was at work and a parent was looking at some of the pictures I had taken of the field trip we took the kids on, and a message pops up, "Sexy crotchless panties on sale." I was mortified. Story 6. You like the little, you are, I'm a guy, and my male friend sent me this as a joke response to something I sent him. My dad was looking at the phone when the message arrived. Story 7. Bread, I am not playing with you, bread. I believe this was a drunken reminder to remember bread. I found it amusing until I noticed my client's blank non-reaction. Story 8. Happened to my BFF. She is a very organized person and has everything mapped out. We were both senior RAs in college, and were watching movies in a common room with all of her freshman male residents. Halfway through the movie, this app pops up and says, "Mary, you are ovulating today. Now is a great time to get pregnant." They made fun of her for ages. Name was changed. Story 9. The first couple months of my marriage we lived in different states because there was no sense in moving my husband out of the barracks for 3 months. I was working fast food at the time, and I was walking up to the front of the store while closing when I got a text from him. Naturally I opened it, and it was my manager was behind me and started yelling about inappropriate texting at work. TLDR, my manager saw my husband's. Story 10. I was showing my friend this dream dictionary app and how it worked. I clicked on a random day to show him it keeps a history for you, and he yelled, "You dreamt about diarrhea." Story 11. One of my friends was showing her professor something on her phone, and right as she handed her the phone she got a message in our group chat from our friend that we nicknamed "I want penis pasta." Story 12. I was with a group of friends and this person gave me their number. I save people's names with a detail that reminds me of who they are. James from Chicago, so this person was talking non-stop about their yacht, so I wrote something like Gary Hassiot. He sent a text, but it didn't go to my phone for a while because we had a bad signal, but it popped up when my phone was in clear view. He sees the text, and his name as it's listed on my phone, and then goes, "You know, it's really not that big of a yacht." I wanted to sink into the floor. He thought I was hitting on him and/or a gold digger. Story 13. It wasn't me, but my professor used to have his laptop hooked up to the projector up front, and while he was going through a PowerPoint a text popped up on his screen from a woman, and all it said was, "I have herpes." Edit. He stopped connecting his laptop to the projector after that. Story 14. I was showing my grandmother pictures from my trip to Washington State. As I was going through the pictures I took on at Mount Rainier, Olympic National Park, and the Puget Sound Ferry, right in the middle of a great picture my wife texts me about wanting to try out our new strap-on. It was literally just the smiling devil emoji and want to try out the new strap-on. I don't think I've ever blushed so red in my entire life. Story 15. Well, I'm active in a group chat called Shawarma Sluts and my mom saw a notification once. Fun edit. I feel like I need to specify that we aren't some sort of Mediterranean-based club and instead just some high schoolers that eat at shawarma too much. Story 16. When hubby and I were starting our fertility struggle, I downloaded one of those apps that tracks your period and ovulation and such. It occasionally would send messages saying it was a good time for, as I did dishes, surrounded by 6 aunts and uncles, my 90-year-old grandmother, my parents, and a mess of older cousins. My phone dinged. Thinking it was about a work emergency that had popped up, I asked my uncle nearest my phone to grab it and read it off to me while I scrubbed a pot. "Your phone says it's a good time to have." Oh, the laughing. Story 17. One of my classes in high school had a Facebook Messenger group chat to talk about homework and stuff, and when the nickname function got introduced a lot of people ended up with exactly the type of nicknames you would expect from high schoolers. I was showing my dad a picture or something when the little messenger bubble popped into the screen saying "horny hard send a message." My dad just awkwardly coughed and then got up and walked away before I could explain. He never brought it up again and I never got in trouble for it, so it could have been worse for me, I guess. I'm sure my dad was mildly traumatized seeing that on his teenage daughter's phone though. Story 18. Driving with the ex-girlfriend. Robo email pops up as my phone is sitting on the dash talking about a booty call. It wasn't me, it was a fake message. She didn't believe me. Story 19 showing my brother something on Amazon and get a text from a guy I was talking to at the moment saying let me put ranch on them lips pretty mama. For the record we used to joke like this a lot, making fun of thristy pickup lines. My bro just looked at me and walked away. Story 20 even worse, it was in writing the wife and I don't need a lot for sexy time, I don't even know if we're married at this time, but for the one and only time, I write her a letter requesting that when I get home that night, she is to be on all fours wearing a certain garment, I'm just going to come home and go straight to town. I place it on the kitchen counter, I clear everything away, around 3 p.m. wife and I are group messaged, landlord who we gave permission to always come in, he was a great old guy stopped by to show off the house to a buyer, I think nothing of it, I'm still expecting sexy time. She comes home, sees the letter, but she also sees the kitchen sink was fixed, no sexy time, she is convinced he, or they, read the letter, she is not an exhibitionist apparently, I still can't look my ex-landlord in the eye without laughing. Story 21 I work with my dad and when I drive I have my phone in a holder next to the wheel, anyway. My fiancé texts something like I want you to me so hard and inside me tonight or something like that, my dad saw and just gave a nervous chuckle, another time I accidentally showed of said fiancé to a receptionist. It was my first time on site and I needed to show him a pic of where I'd be working as I didn't know where it was on site. I opened my gallery and lo and behold, my Mrs. Naked body was right there, I just stepped backwards and apologized but he didn't say anything. Story 22 Well I went to open up the calculator on my phone at work and I guess I had forgot to close the tab for my morning, pulled up some real racy that my coworker got a good glimpse of. There were a lot of people that I worked with that would have blown that up way out of proportion. I guess I'm lucky it was one of the dude brothers who just laughed at me. Story 23 named this obnoxious and shitty couple filthy Duckenozzle and Duckenozzle's cunt on my phone. I was at UPS and the cashier needed to look at my phone for a shipping address. There, she saw a notification from Duckenozzle's cunt and I can tell she tried not to smirk. Story 24 I was waiting for a job interview and the interviewer was late. Being panicky and nervous for it already, I was texting my friend every detail of what was going on, which included the interviewer's lack of timeliness. He shows up, we talk, I'm showing him something on my phone, and my friend texts me back about how unprofessional it is to be late as an interviewer. I didn't get the job. Story 25 I'm in a group chat whose name changes all the time, depending on the season. The name this time was, Why Does It Hurt When I Pee? I was out walking around and a friend came up behind me, saw it, and asked if I was okay if I needed a doctor, or maybe I had a UTI etc. I didn't know what to tell him and just quickly walked away. Story 26 was at the Apple store having a screen protector put on my phone when my fiancé texted. The Apple guy was like, daddy with heart emojis texted you. I was mortified. Story 27 This is about a Facebook group I used to be in called The Beautiful World of Cockatiels being super adorable birds which make great pets when Facebook was a bit older and the list of groups was at the side. Part of the title was cut off on account of it having a long name. So the group title read The Beautiful World of I used to get a little paranoid that people would see that Loli was at work giving a presentation, my laptop showing on the big screen. I had neglected to turn off the Dropbox app. My friend, with whom I shared a folder, uploaded a file to it. The message box popped up the file Hey head. Wave has been uploaded to your Dropbox. Well, my current for the next few days boyfriend and I were looking at my phone right when we first started dating when I needed to look something up. Well and behold the last thing I was looking at was checking him out on Google so it was awkward and he said, Did you Google me? It's funny now but was so awkward then. Story 28 My new boss was sitting at my desk on my computer and my phone started ringing. The screen said rehab. I forgot I put that number in after I finished rehab just in case. I was so mortified. Thinking fast I said my sister just called, do you mind if I call her back? Story 29 I communicate with my doctor through an app, so he can message me whenever he needs to. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, I'm a new patient of his and he had me do all the standard tests just to get up to speed on my health, so I'm showing a meme to my GF and suddenly a notification pops up on my phone saying, we have your HIV test results. Once I explained it was fine, but it was awkward at the time. Story 30 was riding in the car with a coworker when my wife texted, told Siri to read it, huge mistake, wife texted to at me about leaving dingleberries in the shower drain. Story 31 So I was showing my boss and coworkers at my new job a video of some of the animals I help raise and train when I got an email notification from Bad Dragon saying that your order of in size MW CumTube has shipped. I tried to laugh it off and make a joke about how one of my brothers may have been pranking me, but I slunk back into the dish room shortly after in hopes that the embarrassment would kill me. Edit No, it wasn't a horse or dog, it was pretzel in the limited edition rainbow colors for Pride Month. But my coworkers probably assumed the same thing that all of you did. Story 32 A friend of mine had a dude listed in her phone as Tinder guy glasses, which worked great, until he became more of a long-term thing and she never bothered to change it. She'd been on a bit of a serial one-night stand kick for a while. It was easier for her to have descriptions rather than names. After all, she knew who he was. She knew his name, she thought he was great, and she left her straight hoeing days behind her. What difference did it make? He found out when she lost her phone and he called it, only to find he'd been sitting on it. By all accounts, she was mortified when he handed it back to her with that caller ID on the screen. Story 33 Guy I'd been sexting with sent a very PG-13 picture to me, while my grandmother was looking at a picture on my phone, made even worse by the fact she's very conservative, and Story 34. So my brother was looking at a picture of a 3-person chessboard on Reddit, and a stupid YouTube subscription notification popped up from College Humor of a new video have with Josh for me. Awkward started sleeping with a girl I worked with a couple of years back. We drunkenly hook up one night after work drinks. Before anything goes down she tells me she's on the pill. I, being stupid and drunk, am happy that I don't have to wear a condom. Anyway, the following week I decide to check, just in case. No symptoms thankfully, it had just been a while. The clinic tells me they'll text me the results. The test includes everything from chlamydia to HIV. All goes as normal and me and the girl are one afternoon chilling in bed watching TV after some afternoon delight. We're watching something cast from my phone onto my TV. Can't remember why, but it was mirrored, not cast normally. The first text from the clinic comes in, and hits the screen. Hi, this is the results for your recent health checkup. You will receive one text for each test you took. The results of your HIV test were, and that's where the message preview stopped. I felt her tense next to me. She clearly is now not a little worried she has just had unprotected with someone who could be HIV positive. I scrambled to show her the rest of the message, which thankfully showed me as being HIV negative. Fortunately she sees the funny side, and then the 3 or 4 other texts came in and we cheered as each one did. Good times. Story 35. My best friend and I were eating at our favorite pizza place, and when we were done, I went to pay while she went to. I had a coupon for the meal on my phone, so, right as I hand the lady my phone to scan my coupon, friend texts me to describe the she is taking. The poor lady just handed me my phone really fast and didn't say anything else. Story 36. My dad was looking at the most recent pictures I had taken of my kids when I got a message from my small group chat. It was a selfie of my husband's friend banging a super hot girl reverse cowgirl style. It was taken in a mirror so we got the full view. My dad handed the phone back to me and said, "Very cute, honey." Story 37. I clicked on NSFW while looking at something nasty on her trashy, and right when it depixelated the waitress appeared behind me, laughing before taking my order. Story 38. This is even embarrassing to type because Mai and I talk like stupid babies to each other, but my phone was sitting face up at work and he texted I need some babies and a pee-pee holdin' babies. My friend changed all the nickname on my phone to things like Insatiable Punhound, the Baby Blaster, the Herd Round the World, etc., without telling me, then messaged me a whole bunch while I was at work teaching. A student asked if he could use my phone because he needed to call his parents for a ride home, and as I was handing him the phone, I saw all the notifications sitting on my screen. IF was in my male statistics professor's office getting help with my R code, so we were both looking at my computer screen. My texts push automatically to my computer screen if I'm not looking at my phone. And ID been at school all day. My SO texted me, "Come home baby, I miss you." I hope I shot it down before my prof saw it, but probably not. Story 39. Oh boy, I have one, and it is famous at my company now. I was the one to see the notification. I teach English in China, and 2 years ago I arrived to my first job about a month late thanks to visa issues. I survived the first 2 days okay, and now it's Friday and I get invited to a coworker's apartment to hang out, have a beer and meet some other expats. There's just a handful of us chatting and drinking casually. Sometime later people have walked off or called it a night and it's just me, a guy and a girl sitting on a couch. The guy shows me his phone. He wants to show me this mobile game that's very popular here in China. As he's doing this a message pops up. It reads, "I want you in my mouth," from the other girl in the room. Me and the guy make brief eye contact immediately, and then I look at her. She goes beet red and leaves the room. I'm then informed that I am the second person other than them in the company who know that the two of them are an item. She wasn't a shy girl at all, and we now frequently make reference to this event. Mr. and Ms. Mouth are getting married this summer too. Story 40. I was showing a classroom full of kids the eclipse on my phone on overhead projector, and my husband is Loverboy on my phone. He text. I swiped it away real quick, but some of those 8-year-olds caught me and laughed at me. So did the substitute teacher. Story 41. It didn't happen to me, but to my buddy Mike. The boys were at the bar when a Fitbit pop-up popped up. It said, "Hey Michael, did you know Fitbit can help you track your periods and fertility cycle?" Poor Mike, he will never hear the end of that. Story 42. Had just purchased my car. I was in the driver's seat as the salesman was in the passenger seat trying to connect my phone to Bluetooth. My alarm goes off telling me to take YO birth control. He just laughed it off, but it's been 5 years and the embarrassment is still as real as ever. Story 43. Years ago, met a girl at school and we started casually hooking up. She lived about 50 miles away from where I was, so we didn't spend a lot of time together. Some friends and I go out for a few drinks on the weekend. Friend gets drunk and while asking what time it was, grabs my phone to check the time. Right when they looked at the screen, I get a nudie pic from casual hookup gal. They put my phone down and says, "Oops. That's for you." Story 44. All of my alerts show up as just what app is alerting me. If it's an email or text it'll say who it's from, but that's it. So, this hasn't ever happened to me, because I am and have always been super paranoid about this kind of thing. Story 45 was not a notification but a stupid mistake on my part. My boyfriend and I went on a hike with his best friend and his girlfriend. We wanted a picture and they insisted we use my phone since it was the newest. Of course after taking a couple the girl went to look at how they turned out, and if you have an iPhone you know how touchy photos can be. Any slightly wrong movement and it zooms out to your whole gallery. Of course she goes to zoom in with her fingers and it drops the picture back into the whole gallery, and suddenly we are all looking at some sexy pictures I had taken a few days prior for my boyfriend. Didn't help that the first thing she said was, "Oh my god, you need a tan." I couldn't look my boyfriend's best friend in the eye for a while. Story 46. Sitting on a public transit bus, and this girl about 16 or 17 was sitting right next to me. I was talking to some friends in WhatsApp and someone posted a pic of one of the guys in the chat passed out drunk on the toilet. I happened to glance over and she happened to be staring right at my screen when it was sent and I had to close out of the app as fast I could. Hope she enjoyed that one. Buddy was slumped over, no thing really shown other than his pants at his ankles and passed put on the toilet. Story 47. My girlfriend in high school was in health class while I was in English class and I texted her what's going on. My teacher saw I was texting and was in the middle of confiscating my phone when she texted back vaginas. Vaginas are happening. My teacher put down my phone and immediately made a speech that he will not be taking phones away anymore. Story 48. Went in early to work one day and forgot to turn off my alarm. I work in surgery and my alarm kept going off, so I asked my nurse to reach in my pocket and stop the alarm. Because I'm a lazy piece of who has trouble waking up to her alarm, my alarm is labeled "Wake up, you lazy bag." That poor old lady nurse looked at my phone, looked at me, looked at the phone, turned off the phone, looked back at me, nodded, and said absolutely nothing. Not a notification but a fun story. I have an album in my Photos app titled Don't Scroll that basically has my nudes and sometimes pictures of exes, and the reason I titled it Don't Scroll is so that when I show somebody something in the album I remind myself to tell them not to scroll. Well, didn't tell someone not to scroll once, oops. Story 49 kind of relates. My nana has recently passed away and we were trying to teach my granddad how to use her phone so he could speak to us all. We hadn't changed the username over yet as it had only been a day or two. Practicing, we gave my brother a call. Little did we realize, we was visiting the funeral home to view her body. So here he is, saying his goodbyes when lo and behold Nana is trying to call him. Story 50. My best friend, unbeknownst to me, was giving a presentation at work using AirPlay on his iPhone. He has image previews on for text notifications and like 2 minutes into his presentation I started blowing up his phone with Paul Blart memes, like 7 of them in a row. He told me after that he was furiously swiping away the notifications while his coworkers laughed. Story 51. I was showing a picture to somebody today and I was in an ironic furry roleplay in Discord don't ask. Weird server, and as I was showing him suddenly I get the notification for Discord comes on toes. I'm sorry. Let me lick it off. Story 52. My friend and I were traveling abroad and the day we arrived at our destination, he told me he was having pain and swelling down there. He was super embarrassed about it since we weren't really that close, but had been in the same country studying abroad and decided to continue traveling together after our programs ended. Once we had Wi-Fi I messaged my mom about his symptoms since she is a nurse, but didn't tell him I was doing so. His phone wasn't working with the Wi-Fi and asked to look at my phone for the map. While he's got my phone, my mom responds, "Is it an STD? Wasn't he just in Amsterdam?" The whole situation was just so embarrassing for us both and he had to explain that he didn't sleep with a prostitute. Story 53. Sort of related. Mother-in-law was looking through pictures of trip we had recently taken and swiped too far. I had forgotten the night before the trip I got drunk and put lots of baby powder in my hair to see what I'd look like with gray hair. Story 54. Sort of relevant. I was convinced an old boss of mine didn't read my emails, something he would vehemently deny. In a meeting, while his laptop was being projected on the big screen he ran an inbox search of my name to find an attachment ID sent him. The search brought up about 200 unopened emails from me. Story 55. 2 things I learned from this experience is to not have your phone obnoxiously bright, and for my iPhone users out there on Reddit, don't ever, I repeat, don't ever have your previews shown on your banners whenever you receive a text message. Biggest mistake of my life. One day I decided to leave my phone on the kitchen countertop next to my mother while she was washing the dishes. Meanwhile I was sexting with my ex-boyfriend at the time in Spanish. We wanted to spice things up in our language. And what are the odds that my mother didn't have her phone nearby and was curious about what time it was, and once she tapped on my home screen, my entire screen was filled with freaky deaky. The look on her face as soon as I got out of my room to the kitchen was priceless. She legit gave me the only Lenny face and called me a dirty in Spanish. Fun fact, I don't think I ever told my ex-boyfriend about that story. I wonder what his reaction would have been. Story 56. About 2 weeks ago my GF and I had a disagreement while we were on a vacation with our friends. The next day we're all sitting around having drinks and just as I go to show her a funny picture, her friend sitting across the room texts me and asks, "So have you two talked yet?" We both read the message, look at each other, then look at her friend who is face-palming so hard and break down laughing. Story 57. A few days ago I texted my best friend if he wanted to hang out. And the regular people we are, I texted him, "Hey big dick, wanna tonight? Hugs and kisses 303. He called me a few minutes later a little pissed because he was showing his teacher something on his phone when he got the text and now his teacher thinks he's gay. Story 58. Somewhat related. I was working with a student on their thesis, and he was trying to find a section of his paper but having trouble. I told him to just Control F it. When he did so it brought up the last thing he Control FD, which was hentai panties. Story 59. My sister's contact name in my phone is Booty Call, which is a family inside joke. Not so funny when she calls you in meeting with the executive team and your phone is on the table. Story 60. Yes, the nudes that made it onto a 4 by 6 feet projector during lecture. I was doing a group project in class. Everything was done. Everyone in my group was there to see it, except this one girl who was homesick. She did a great job with her contribution and was proud of her work, so I figured I'd send her the PowerPoint file so she could watch it at the same time we did. At this time, we had my laptop hooked up to the projector. I go to Facebook to send the file to her, go to Messenger, and click on her name. Except I didn't click on her name. I was seeing a girl at the time. The classmate was named Claire, the girlfriend was named Claire. I mistakenly clicked on Claire's notification. My whole class was greeted with a massive picture of my then girlfriend, naked, leaning seductively in the shower while fingering her bush. The three things that struck me were how much effort she put into setting up a tripod and self-timer. Just for this you could see the camera in the bathroom mirror. And then the mirror itself, there was a massive circular crack in it, as if it were shot at or hit with a sharp object and a ton of force. And then there was the fact that she sent me nudes, over Facebook. Story 61. I played this run, zombies game where you go run and you're playing a game during your run. You are a runner and can pick up supplies to help those who haven't yet been turned into zombies. I went out for a run at a camp where I was a sponsor. I get back, unplug my headphones, and my run summary starts being announced. I walk up to another sponsor to say good morning and my phone announces, picked up a pack of underwear, the look on his face. Story 62. I have a reminder to tell me to take out the garbage, but I changed it to say you're garbage. I don't let people look at my phone though, so I just sort of have a nice chuckle every Thursday night at 7:30. Story 63. Once met a cute girl at a party and found out we had a mutual friend who I had been crushing on for a while, so she texted her saying she just met me, and she showed me the response text saying how crazy that was. And while I had her phone she got another text from her saying something along the lines of OMG, I actually like him, he's so cute, which made me smile, but embarrassed the out of her, because she was trying to flirt with me and that threw a wrench in things. Story 64. My crush borrowed my phone for a short text, then a guy best friend texted, we should try cigarettes after. He was talking about a band we both liked. God, I blew my chances on that guy. Story 65. But my Discord friend got a message while their friend was using their phone, that said Big Money Mozzarella as a mod asked what they wanted my nickname to be on the server. It was PP Boy at the time. Their friend quoted to this day. Story 66. Not embarrassing for me but for the other person. A few years ago I was in an evacuation center. 3 days after a major bushfire that wiped out the town next to us we were okay. Some people at the evac center had been upset that they had not received the SMS notification sent by emergency services advising them to evacuate. I was talking to the regional manager of the major telco in person at the evac center. He was helping me find something on my phone. As he was looking at my phone, the text arrived 3 days late advising me to evacuate. He looked at the phone and then at me and I didn't have to say a thing. Story 67. I was exchanging dirty texts with a guy, but he hadn't responded in a while so I kind of forgot about it. Fast forward to me at my best friend's house and I hand my phone to her dad to show him a picture of something, and lo behold the guy I was texting chose that moment to text me you're being a bad girl. My best friend's dad read it out loud and then handed it back to me. My best friend and her sister were also there. They busted out laughing. I quietly tried to sink into the floor. Story 68. I was on a webinar with a client, a couple females from a school district. I use a MacBook for work and of course have iMessage set up so I can text from it. It had never occurred to me to turn off the notification pop-up on the MacBook, and mid-screen share with these clients a friend texts me Merry Christmas and a picture of a female with a large candy cane looking device partially inserted pops up in the corner of my screen. I think those notifications show for like 4 to 5 seconds maybe, and it was the longest few seconds of my life. I just stopped talking mid-sentence and hoped to God it was too small on their screen to see what it was. I was afraid to swipe it away thinking if I clicked anywhere near it the iMessage app might open up and show the picture full size. I've never had notification previews of any kind turned on any device since then. Story 69. I never leave my phone face up. Our group chat name is currently Y'all Make My Itch, but in the past it has been Harpies and who knows what else. Hey race some nicknames throughout the years: Secret Lesbian Baggins, Token Black Girl, Seaman Demon Primal, I Want to Michael Myers, and countless others that I can't be bothered to remember. When I was still in the Coast Guard, worked on a buoy tender, and eventually qualified as BDS. Went up to the bridge after a buoy evolution and handed over my phone to my senior chief so he could get the battery from the new light we swapped in to make remarks in our aids to navigation system. Middle of him reading off the battery number to the SN on QMOW watch to type in. He starts reading the text my FWB had just sent me about missing grabbing my back dimples as I her hard. The entire crew on the bridge cracked up and he repeated it over the loud hailer so everyone on and below decks could hear. I got for months but I laughed along too, it was hilarious. Story 70. I was working a job and was demonstrating AirPlay mirroring to a customer when a girl sent me a very angry text thanking me for the chlamydia. I pretended not to have seen it but the customer couldn't stop laughing. Story 71. Not me, but a friend. I was responsible for the message. I was at uni with a friend of mine and some mutual friends and I signed him up to an adult dating website called Red Hot Pie with his university email as a joke. He was an Indian student so we gave him the username SexyIndian69. He thought it was spam, so instead of clicking unsubscribe he just ignored them. Once we all graduated, he landed a job at the same university. That meant his student email was now his work email, and a few weeks into his new job, he had to give a presentation to the higher-ups at the university, and during the presentation he got an email. He had notifications enabled, so in the middle of his presentation a pop-up appeared in the bottom right of the screen, reading something along the lines of SexyIndian69, see our new hot singles at Red Hot Pie. Story 72. This happened to my best friend last year. He was working in a high-end hotel at the time. During his first week, he got sent to a room because the resident couldn't get the Wi-Fi going. A man opened the door, wife sitting on the bed, and showed him the problem. After some fiddling with the router, he suggests the man tries again. Nothing. Okay, let me try on my phone. Worst mistake ever. He opens his browser and he jacked off to before work starts blaring on max volume. Now this is awkward, but you see, my friend is into some hardcore, which made it a lot more awkward. The wife started laughing hysterically and the man just patted him on the shoulder, acknowledging the awkwardness. My friend apologized profusely and got the out of there is.